Millionaire saved a pregnant girl who fell from a building. She was his daughter lost for 30 years. The New York skyline was buzzing with its usual pulse, honking taxis, hurrying pedestrians, and the constant hum of a city that never sleeps. But on the 42nd floor of a sleek corporate tower, amidst polished glass and pristine marble, Richard Callahan stood still, looking out over the city with weary eyes. He was a self-made millionaire, the kind the media adored, fierce, brilliant, untouchable. But behind the designer suit and sharp jawline was a man who hadn't smiled in years. Not since his infant daughter, Emily, was taken from his arms during a messy divorce 3 decades ago. His ex-wife had vanished overnight, leaving only a vague note and a custody battle he never had a chance to win. That day, 30 years ago, had haunted him every single morning. And yet, life went on. Companies grew. Empires expanded. But the void in his heart remained untouched. Then it happened. Screams echoed from the building across the street. Richard turned just in time to see a young woman, heavily pregnant, dangling from the edge of a 4th-floor fire escape. Her fingers clutched desperately at the rusty railing, her legs kicking into the empty air below. A crowd was gathering, shouting, calling for help, but doing nothing. Without thinking, Richard bolted from his office. He didn't wait for the elevator. He tore down flight after flight of stairs until he burst out into the street. Security tried to stop him, but his eyes were locked on the woman slipping inch by inch. And then she fell. Instinct took over. Richard dove beneath her, arms outstretched, bracing himself with the strength of a man twice his age. The impact knocked him down hard, the world spinning as his head hit the concrete. But the woman, she was safe. Shaken, but alive. Paramedics arrived within minutes, and both were rushed to the hospital. As Richard drifted in and out of consciousness, he felt something strange. Not pain. Not fear. But, connection. He had seen those eyes before. That chin. Even the way she held her hand protectively over her belly felt familiar. Her name, she said, was Emily. Richard's breath caught. Do you know who your father is?" he asked, barely able to speak. She looked away, nervously. "I don't. My mom never told me much. She died when I was a teen. I was raised in foster care after that." A chill ran through him. It couldn't be. Could it? "Do you have anything of hers?" he asked. "Something personal?" She hesitated, then reached into her worn tote bag and pulled out a small, faded locket. "This is all I have left of her," she whispered. His hands trembled as he opened it. Inside was a photo, him, holding a newborn baby in the hospital. His name was engraved on the back. Richard felt his world tilt. "You're my daughter," he whispered. Emily blinked. "What?" He reached for her hand, his eyes welling with tears. "Your mother left with you when you were just a baby. I never knew where she went. I never stopped looking." Silence fell between them. Her eyes filled slowly, processing the impossible truth. I've always wondered who I was," she said. "Why I felt so different. So alone." Richard cupped her face gently. "You were never alone. Not really. I loved you every day of your life, even when I didn't know where you were." The emotional storm that followed couldn't be captured in words. Just raw, trembling embraces and broken hearts finally mending after 3 long, painful decades. Emily gave birth just 2 weeks later, a beautiful baby girl with deep brown eyes just like her grandfather's. Richard was in the delivery room, holding Emily's hand, refusing to leave her side. From that day forward, his world changed. He left the boardrooms behind. Sold off his luxury penthouses. Instead, he bought a modest home near Emily's, choosing bedtime stories and stroller walks over business meetings and mergers. He became not only a father again, but a grandfather, present, proud, and full of a new purpose. Word of the rescue spread through the media, but Richard refused interviews. This story, he told reporters once, is not about a millionaire saving someone. It's about a father finding his way back home. And that's exactly what it was. It wasn't just Emily who had been saved that day. It was Richard, too, a man who had spent his life building towers of success, only to find true wealth in a single moment of selfless instinct and unimaginable grace. The community around them rallied with joy, moved by the story of reunion and redemption. Strangers sent letters, sharing how the story gave them hope that the past doesn't have to define us, that forgiveness is possible, and that love can always find its way, no matter how many years have passed. The last photo ever taken of Richard was of him holding his granddaughter in the park, sunlight dappling across his face, his eyes full of peace. He passed away 5 years later, quietly in his sleep, with his daughter and granddaughter by his side. At his memorial, Emily stood before a crowd of friends and neighbors and said, "My father didn't just save my life that day. He gave me back my identity, my family, and my future. He taught me that no matter how broken things seem, kindness can always rewrite the ending." And with that, the crowd stood in silent respect, tears in their eyes, reminded once again of the power of humanity, and the miracle of a love that never gave up.